BDS, this is a map that they're no slouch on either.
It really is. BDS going to be starting off on the attack here as we do throw on into Coastline. Going to be getting the bans coming in through now. There's a bit of speculation on the desk, and there we go. There it is already. And Hap getting things right over there. Ash coming out as the first ban for NIP. Going straight for the target ban, Demo.
It's a bit strange though, Ollie. Obviously that's going to be for our good friend Shaiko.
Yep.
But he has not had the greatest of tournaments so far, and it is a bit of a shock.
I mean, it's not going to get any better, is it, if he's not got the Ash? Surely that could
Kick O'Malley's down. That's it. Yep.
Thatcher coming in there as no surprise for the second ban. First ban from BDS. They're going to
show us a Valk.
Join it in. Is it going to be a Valkyrie? Is it going to be a Mirror? What are we going to be dealing with here? It's actually going to be the Wamai. So highlighted operator going to be getting removed here. I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Wamai, so much play, so valuable.
I'm expecting either a Mirror or Valk, and there's the Mirror. Okay, so Valkyrie's open, which is always a bit of a scary one in Coastline. A lot of strong cameras you can get. And of course, a very destructible map as well. You combo that with C4s and information. It's a recipe for disaster. But that's the bans, and now let's see how the teams will play it. BDS on the attack. I think attack is usually the side you want to start on. That is where it's mostly favored on Coastline. We've, I think, discussed very heavily with the lack of hard breach that you do not need to bring. You can easily get away without Habana, your Fermat, your Ace, all of that. You don't need it. It's just kills, Ollie. That's all it is.
It really is. It can be brought to make the job a little bit easier, and we see Brede, at least for the time being, going to lock in on that Habana. But it by no means is a requirement or a main focus in terms of how the round plays out. First site we're going to be going to here is going to be good old Hookah and Billiards. Psycho has been forced off the Wamai. That got banned away from him. Instead, going to be going on to the Valkyrie. I mean, I don't think he's going to argue. Valkyrie is so much value, quite a high ban rate as well inside of SI21, so makes a lot of sense, really, for Psycho to be bringing that Valk. I'm just wondering, Demo, how much could this Wamai ban influence the game? Because what we've seen from NIP, not necessarily as much on Coastline, but I'm thinking toward other maps like Villa, where they're very good at holding a shield, placing 3 ADSs there, they'll play all the Wamai discs there, Psycho will play there, and that allows him to be very safe in that location. It's a really hard anchor position that they look to try and generate themselves. They're not going to be able to do that now.
Especially whenever we look to Clubhouse as well. I mean, that is Anchor City. We see so many holds being made very easy for a lot of defenders with Wamai, but quite rightly so. It being banned away. One thing that I think this is definitely going to force NIP is they're going to have to be a little bit more aggressive. With that Wamai ban, we're going to see a lot of projectiles from BDS, which I think we're seeing. We're seeing 2 sets of nades, we're seeing 2 sets of flashbangs. That's plenty of utility. And I think NIP, knowing that they're not going to be able to stop all of that, they need to go out and hunt them and try and eliminate that utility before it gets used.
It's a really smart ban from BDS on a lot of levels because Shaiko's going to play the Iana now, which is
he's good on that as
the
well.
Operator we've seen him play when Ash gets banned. And Shaiko discovered this little thing called frag grenades a couple of days ago. We saw it inside of the group stage.
Home runs.
Two frags, 2 kills in a couple of rounds that we saw that happen on. So by no means any sort of detriment there. We're going to see a nice little C4 toss come on through as Psycho. He's got a tough angle to try and get it through the slats in the floor. I think he's maybe just going to think better off it for the time being, but no, it did actually get placed. Maybe it got stuck and he wasn't able to retrieve it. Moose are going to be seeing some early damage as well. A lot of intel is being able to be gathered here on the Gemini.
Another one comes in now, and well, that's wasted C4s from NIP. There's the information being spotted out. And really for BDS, all they've took note of is, okay, there's one guy now, let's kill him, and then we're good to rush into the bomb site. And that might be something that they're open for. Right now, a lot of them stacked up towards the luggage area as well. They're definitely going to try and move in towards that aqua side and continue their push, but for now, BDS, I think, still hunting for that first pick, and only this is where we're going to start to see the nades be utilized very, very heavily. I don't know if that was a missed nade from Renshiro or just checking that corner. Very pesky position for defender could play into, and Alam's, there we go, right into the bomb site. He's eliminated the smoke, and a nade as well. The projectiles are working for BDS.
BDS now going to try and get the plant down inside of Billiards. It looks as though he's not going to be challenged as the crossfire here coming in from BDS is just a little bit too good. Rafal's going to find himself 2 huge kills as we now enter a 4 versus 2. Muzi, he didn't have a great deal of health. He's going to fall on the cool vibe stairs. And now it all comes down to Julio in the 1 versus 4. Likely going to get pushed here by BDS as he retreats and makes his way over on into Sunrise. Going to be a very difficult retake for him. He does find 1 down, but Rafal comes in with the final kill. 3 frags in that opening round there for Rafal. BDS, they take round number 1.
A very convincing round 1 as well, Ollie. You have to give credit to Olems. What he did with that initial play was everything for BDS. The information being gained by the Iana, spotting out, okay, there's 1 guy here, 1 guy there. Let's rush in. Let's take that engagement. And I think for Olems, he stepped up big time. If he had fallen off and he did not get that kill, I think NIP probably would have won that round.
Alem's had a hell of a series so far as well.
Yeah.
He's a hell of an invitational. Renshiro as well, really coming in and providing some of those kills. So being able to bring that performance and that consistency through into the playoffs is vital.
I think the big thing with BDS that everyone has kind of said is everyone but Shaiko has kind of lived up to expectations. You know, obviously Shaiko, he has had a bad invitational, but it's not what we expected of him. It's not like the same Shaiko that we have seen previously. But I think that's a real credit to BDS. The fact that the other 4 have stepped up massively, a lot of them having the best tournaments of their life so far, that's a real credit to just how strong this team is. And that's, Ollie, why I think they're definitely the front runners to win this entire thing.
Well, they've started off well here inside of the playoffs now. They've managed to pick up round number 1. They're now going to look to try and make it 2 in a row. NIP looking for a little bit of something different here. It's going to take us downstairs to Sunrise and Blue Bar. Hooker and Billiards wasn't really working out all too well for them. I imagine this is just going to be a camera from Psycho, but maybe going to get caught out on a couple of drones. He gets a couple of drones removed there and thinks better of it. Thinks, you know what, I'm going to save my cameras. They're just going to get taken out straight away. Pino, horrible angle there onto the drone hole. Always worth having a quick look, seeing if you get a few bit of chip damage. You never know.
Everyone's died to that, I'm sure, at one point in their life. So yeah, just trying to see what he can grab. Anything really. And NIP, Ollie, going into this matchup, I would say they are a very unpredictable team. I think if we look back at their group stage, the different strategies, the pocket strategies that they're able to pull out are terrifying to play against. They can completely switch their dynamic and their playstyle in an instant. Very, very difficult team to read on the day. And I think NIP, if they get themselves into that form where they're constantly mixing up strategies, it could really frazzle the brains of BDS. It
really could. That adaptation is something that we've seen drag them through quite a couple of games inside of the group stage. It typically comes out on the attack a little bit more so than the defense, but Alem's getting himself into an early engage here. That's 2 kills that have gone unresponded. NIP taking a nice advantage here, and Nade going to come in and do some damage onto Muzi, but looks as though he's just going to take his time and dip on out, recognizing they've been able to get 2 huge frags there. Rafal going down on the Nomad. That means that flanks are just going to be aplenty here, and Alem's falling as well.
And NIP, a very heavy roam team where we know they will bring as many operators as they need to assist them with that playstyle. But having those 2 massive kills in the beginning has definitely helped them. BDS a little bit stunned now. They're not entirely sure where they want to go. Renshiro, though, finds a nice kill. I think that's through the flooring behind the Sunrise barn. Yes, it is. But they still have the sledge, which I think is the crucial point for BDS. It allows them to use that soft destruction, open up these different angles on the Sunrise. And there's another kill. Shaiko has responded. And all of a sudden, Ollie, that lead that NIP had, it's disappeared now.
The kill that Renshiro gets there onto Kamikaze is absolutely massive, because now you don't need to worry about time. You've removed the smoke. You can now start to take your time and make sure that upstairs is open sufficiently. Get the sledgehammer out. Use that to open up a lot of the floor and really just start to pressure the defenders that are on site, because the ability now to burn 35, 40 seconds with Toxic Babe canister gas is no longer a thing. Pino looking to make a movement back on in, but BDS finds Psycho, shutting him down as well. After the first 2 kills not going in BDS's favor, they've responded quite nicely there, and they've got themselves into a favorable position. Julio's going to fall as well as Pino. He manages to find a kill over onto BDS. Essentially a 1 versus 2, but with the opportunity for Julio to be revived here. A swing comes out there, but Shaiko shuts him down.
BDS winning a 3 versus 5, something that should never happen in that scenario. NIP giving themselves away 1 by 1. very, very surprised BDS have pulled out that round win. It just looked as if BDS were slowly moving their way around the entire building, challenging an angle and just winning the gunfight.
Didn't faze them that they lost the first 2 kills there. They really took a moment to think, right, okay, that's fine. Let's work with what we've got for a minute. And they were able to catch out a couple of the players on NIP through just aggressive rotation. Kamikaze in that position really shouldn't be dying there. He shouldn't be giving himself up to that angle. It's a very well-known angle, and when you've got such an incredible man count advantage, you can't afford to just be challenging things and looking to swing.
Why is Psycho thinking, okay, I'll take a little trip into the sauna? I don't know if he wants to steam, I don't know, but he should never be in that position. We know NIP are an aggressive team. They can play that playstyle, but whenever you have the man advantage, why would you go for it? You should only be playing an absolute crazy playstyle if you're up against it, if you're down the numbers advantage and you need to go out and get a kill, you need to make a big play. The play was made, Ollie.
Or at least go for the trade. You know, you got the man count advantage. If you're going to start peeking aggressively onto things, try and get a little bit of a trade going on into there. Nothing there had the potential to be traded. It wasn't a really flashy play from BDS where they were able to get 2 quick kills, or it was a nice 1 versus 2 engagement. Everyone was getting picked off piecemeal, one at a time. That's not something that's going to give NIP any rounds here, as BDS have managed to pull one back.
All right, NIP actually looking to try and counter BDS. BDS very heavily in towards that bedroom side, in towards VIP. That's where they stagnated their push from. And now they're actually going to set up to try and challenge BDS. They've put in reinforcements towards the bedroom. They set up some utility there as well, some players. Psycho actually opens up with the first kill. I think that's just him swinging on through the door out towards the hookah lounge balcony, and now decides to back away, and BDS again losing that first engagement. That's Shaiko, that's the nades gone, an important kill, and this is where NIP, this is what they needed to do, Ollie. Without that Wamai, they need to try and hunt those kills for those projectiles in the early game.
Psycho's going to be getting aggressive onto it here as well. Does get droned out there inside a hookah and decides to dip back just a vase. Lems is going to be underneath, though, holding him. So Psycho not really got the ability to move all too far here. Pino is going to be playing cool vibe stairs, so has a chance to maybe swing onto a Lems. But as the pressure increases here on Psycho, he's in a bit of a do-or-die situation. Going to make the rotation and try and get himself back into hooker and look to challenge from a different angle. But no, Kamikaze! He goes for a careless swing on the big window and gets shut down by Rafal. Julio comes in with a trade, and Nade will likely see Psycho finished off there. Pino is left to retreat. Still playing on the cool vibe stairs. Not a great position here for either team really to be in. That's going to make it a better one for BDS, though, as a Lem swings in onto Muzi, picking up that all-important frag. Still a 2 versus 2. Renshiro down, but not out. NIP don't really have any site control here. Sorry, they do have site control, but they don't really have any sort of positional advantage. There's still quite a lot of time left for BDS to execute.
All 3 of the BDS players are stacked up outside of the one doorway as well. I think Renshiro is going to bleed out. No, Pino will finish him off. They had that information that they did down Renshiro, but Bride with a massive kill onto Pino. And now Julio inside of the 1 versus 2, named as the Rock, according to the analyst desk. Can he hold that? Can he hold that title? Let's see now. BDS taking their time. Julio thinking about where he wants to swing. He sees one move in, and there's the first kill. One more to find, though. Lems has to try and find it. Yes, he will. The wall buying rings true for BDS. 3-0, Ollie. They lead. 2
massive clutch rounds there for BDS as well. I mean, a couple of those you would expect to go into NIP's favor. Even that last round wasn't beyond winnable. The diffuser was cold on the ground. It came down to a 1 versus 1 gunfight. It isn't a repeatable strategy. I think quite rightly there we have seen the first time out. NIP, they need a moment to collect themselves.
Yep.
Inside of the group stage, we regularly saw early timeouts. I think we saw them as early as at the end of round 2. And that's just how tight these games can be sometimes.
So there was one moment that we just seen on the double window, which I think was a very important bit of information to kind of acknowledge about NIP and their playstyle. They're willing to sacrifice each other to get kills, which I think is an okay strategy, but why is it the smoke? Out of all the operators, why is it the one that is the most crucial for this certain bomb site? That's a very bottleneck kind of site that you have to hold, and it's very difficult to attack into. We see usually, 2 ways of attacking it, either in through the hookah door or the double door by aquarium. That's the only two that we see. So it's a little bit strange to see them sacrifice a very, very dependent operator for that bomb site in favor just for one single kill. I don't really understand it.
Well, the timeout is still continuing. We can see that the players are heavily discussing between themselves how they want to try and change things up here. A site we've not seen yet is going to be kitchen and service. Now, I can see on the screen that that is the site that was locked in prior to this TAC timeout. Maybe NIP looking to go here, bring something a little bit different, and then take us back upstairs to Hooker and Billiards, or back downstairs to Blue Bar and Sunrise. Typically, you'll see teams that want to try and fix a problem inside of that timeout and come up with some of that small adaptation. And it is something that we've praised NIP for in the past, is their ability to very quickly come up with counter strategy, very quickly come up with these pocket strats, as we like to call them. It isn't necessarily something that is very well rehearsed. It's not always something that's been scrimmed. It's just something that a team of very coordinated players can bring out on the day, and it can often be a difference maker.
Well, like we've mentioned, Ollie, this is a map that NIP need to win. Clubhouse is up next, and that is definitely favored for BDS. They need to win this first map. I think right now, in terms of the big difference, in terms of how this game's going, I think whenever we get to those kind of lull moments, because it happens in every round, where you see trades happen in the early game, and then it's kind of a bit of a standstill for like a minute. The big difference is, in that minute, BDS are getting themselves into great positions to pick up these kills, and that is the real game changer. We've seen Renshiro have a lot of those kills where nothing's happened, all of a sudden, bang, Renshiro on the scoreboard, favor to BDS. It's those mid-round moments that BDS are dominating.
Because the opening picks come 2 rounds in a row for NIP. They've been able to get 2 opening picks in 2 consecutive rounds. I think they even got 2 inside of round number 2. And they've still not been able to close out the round. They've still not been able to use that man count advantage and really, you know, put the pressure back onto BDS. A lot of it has come down to not kind of, I hate using the word careless swings, but there's been a lot of challenges that, you know, maybe didn't really need to happen.
It's not needed for those kind of swings to be coming in. Like I mentioned about the smoke, that should not happen. You do not need to do that. But we'll see how NIP, after their timeout, can they respond with a round win and make this an actual matchup that we can see go the full distance and coastline? Because right now, Ollie, it's looking BDS all over the walls, the writing's on the walls, and it says BDS. Right, let's see where BDS want to set up their attack. Seems to be pretty standard into Sunrise, into Blue Bar, and Kitchen will be the site that will be pressured. NIP, though, they set up for that. A lot of wall denial being opened up. You can see the entire quad wall being shot out. It gives you those long-range gunfights that you can hold and stop anyone rushing in from. And as you can see, Shaiko having a bit of a trouble with that. Muzi with the 1.5 times is able to make that kill. And once again, NIP, they have that lead.
Second round in a row for Shaiko to be first blood as well. So NIP really doing a number to search out for that opening engagement and win it. You know, it's not always a situation where there's 2 people pushing the one player. They're really doing a good job of winning that first head-to-head gunfight, but not able to get it over the line. Now, this could be a little bit of a different circumstance. Uzi's actually found himself a second, but Brede, he's got himself all the way on into the site. He's just strolled on into Kitchen, and he's going to start to confirm that plan. Psycho goes for a rotation. Alems shuts him down. We're now in a post plan. Sure, it's a 3 versus 4, but the kills keep coming in here for BDS as it all levels up with Rafal taking down Muzi. Julio now has to do something about this. And again, despite a good early round from NIP, they're looking pretty lackluster in the here and now. Alems with the cross manages to take down Kamikaze, finds himself a second. Alems is going to get them all. Picks up 3 kills.
Wow. I do not know how BDS are losing these opening engagements. It's looking grim for them, and all of a sudden, bang, they win the round. I cannot, like, I don't even know how to put it in words, Ollie. You cannot respect how NIP have set that up, because that has been very poor. They've opened up that quad wall to stop that from happening, yet it's happened.
Nobody playing inside a luggage. The vertical control that was there was just being held from Blue Bar. This angle, I mean, Alem's got 3 kills. He barely moved his feet. He was behind Blue Bar pretty much for the entirety of it. Look at all the information he's got as well. He's got a ping on every single player there. The drone setup. Sure, we talk about Shaiko dying out early, but if he's the one that's on the cameras, he's contributing massively there in terms of winning out the round. They had information on every single player there.
There's no excuse for NIP. No excuse. That should be a round that they win 9 times out of 10. 100% they win that. But no, they just let the guy run a 100-meter sprint into kitchen.
Got to respect your planter. You got to respect your planter. You got to respect
Bride. No fear, no fear.
You've got to respect him for getting in. LMs has gone, yep, I'll cover you. And Bria's gone, I believe you. No worries. I'm going to hop myself in.
It's like BDS know, okay, this is our only chance. It is a very slim margin that this will work, but we have to try our odds. And it's working for them. They're playing the roulette wheel, Ollie, and it's coming up their number every single time.
You know, when they've got this much of an advantage, why not? There's no reason why they can't. They've got 4 rounds in a row here. They're probably looking to make it 5 hell. They're probably looking even to make it 6. Again...
Dare I say 7?
Quite possibly. You know, we're seeing some early aggression here from Muzi. He did get caught out on the drone there. The information from eDemo is something that BDS have been really capitalizing on.
Drone work always has been proficient for BDS. That's why coming into this competition, they were one of the strongest all-round teams. You know, in every single area that you look at in terms of what makes a good professional team, BDS ticks all of those boxes. NIP, give us 1 round. Come on, something to fight for, NIP. Let's have you. Oh, that's what we want to see. Finally, NIP realize that, hey, Renshira's been causing us some issues on that window. Let's try and take him out. And they did just that. NIP with, once again, the opening pick. But I don't know how much weight that holds in this game.
I mean, they've had the opening pick in, what, 3 rounds in a row? Is it 3 rounds in a row now?
Yeah.
Maybe 4.
Yeah, I think 3 out of 4
I feel like they're just constantly getting this opening pick, and it really isn't doing them many favors. This time they take somebody else down. They take Renshiro down. Sure, it's going to be still 2 frag grenades that have been removed. Typically, it's been Shaiko that's been getting himself into that early engagement, but the opening kill in this round has come much later on. Muzi's going to be missing his shots there over onto Rafal. Instead, decides to get his chips and dip as he looks maybe to drop down into main atrium. Psycho going to be upstairs and maybe able to pick up some of these pieces.
Psycho, this is the aggression that we want to see, and Allowance is gone. NIP have got they've got everything going for them right now, Ollie. NIP were hunting for those early kills to eliminate the utility, and they have done just that. BDS, the old 1-2 punch from Psycho has worked a charm. And BDS now in a dire position, and the swings just keep on coming. NIP are sick of being dominated by BDS, and they want to get themselves around, and they'll get that. Finally, the Brazilians wake up on coastline.
Well, it took an opening kill, and then another, and then a double kill, and then finally the round was done. Almost a flawless there from NIP. They desperately needed that. I don't think we can stress that enough. Sure, this is a best of 3, and there is more than just coastline to be looking at here. But BDS have been on a winning streak, managing to take the first 4 rounds. And let's be honest, they weren't 4 clear-cut rounds. There was a couple of chances there that, you know, rounds could have gone the favour of NIP, and I think they probably feel a little bit upset and hard done to that they didn't.
Yeah.
Now they've been able to gain a round. Now they've been able to just shift that momentum ever so slightly. They're going to be going downstairs to kitchen and service. Previously, we saw Bride just Terminator style, run himself on into site and think, I don't want to do anything but worry about planting this diffuser.
If NIP had won the rounds that they should have, it would probably be 3-2 the NIP right now. I would say that pretty convincingly. And I think there was 2 rounds. It was the 5 versus 3 that they had on their Sunrise and Blue Bar defense that they just gave their picks. And then obviously the last kitchen round where that should never have happened. Hopefully this time they will set up appropriately for that. And one thing as well that BDS never really had any interest in was the top floor. Equally, NIP had no interest in holding the top floor. There was hardly anything set up inside of VIP. There was no holes that you could play above, which would probably have stopped everything that had happened. I think now if NIP realize that, hey, BDS, they only attack from one side of the map, we can utilize the rest of the map to our advantage. Like we've talked about, the rotations and coastline, it's a very heavy roamer map. That's going to favor NIP.
Absolutely, and we saw just exactly what that's going to be able to do for a player like Pino, for a player like Psycho that will get themselves out there on their own. Even Muzi is taking advantage of that as well. So if NIP are able to start chaining a couple of rounds together here, we could see them with a bit of a comeback here on coastline. For the time being, this is going to be the last round before the sides switch, so BDS may be looking to capitalize on that and utilize the fact that coastline can be seen as attacker-sided. I think with the bans, the way that they've come through, the attacker bans, they sometimes have some of an influence over onto coastline, but it's very seldom. It's not like you're going to be removing the Maverick or the Hibana or something really crucial in terms of hard breach. You're usually a little bit freer over on the attack, and that's why it does tend to lean in that direction. Lems, I think he's got a drone inside of office, and he's just trying to bait Pino out right now.
Yeah, Pino, of course, on that dock as well. 1.5 times is great to have, and Psycho again inside of luggage. Can he find any kills? One has to come his way, and yes it will. Rafale is gone, Lion off the board. And Shiro isn't really phased by, still just sledging away. He's only focused on trying to eliminate Pino right now. He isn't worried about what's happening around him.
Pino just got a glimpse there of a Lems. It's going to be enough to force him back as he feels like the pressure's likely coming in vertically, and hell, he's already wasted half of the round. Alem still hasn't made it on inside. Shaiko now going to start pushing himself down at Cool Vibe stairs. He's got drone information to work from. Does he know of the player inside a kitchen? Ooh, just a little shoulder going to give the game away there from Kamikaze, but he does make a successful rotation. Alems has been allowed to walk all the way on through, gets himself into blue bar and takes down Kamikaze. Pino now left wanting. He's going to desperately pre-fire through the wall, but a C4 from Julio is going to hit as Renshiro will fall.
Pino as well finds Shaiko, and now a 2 versus 4 that BDS have to pull out. It's Bride and Alems. Alems inside of blue bar has a yellow ping. Oh, you see the head, there he is, there's the Mozzie, and Alems will find that kill. Another swing as well coming in from Muzi on the warden, but decides to back away. BDS, it's a 2 versus 3, definitely still in reach of a potential round win for them. But right now, I think NIP, the clear favourites going into the final 30 seconds.
Little pocket Valkyrie camera there coming out from Psycho. Things you love to see in the final 40 seconds. Just gathering himself a slight bit more information. Alems likely going to have to just push on through, maybe meet his end. Pino going to be holding the long angle, shuts him down with the headshot from way down inside of lobby. Bride, he's in a tough spot. He's 1 versus 3 and there are only 15 seconds remaining. He's got multiple angles to check. Crossfires are being established. We can see the players on the side of NIP all buddying up there. It's going to be Psycho to find the last kill. NIP with 2 rounds in a row to close out their defensive phase.
NIP needed those 2 rounds. Ollie definitely needed to have something to fight for, as they will now have that side switch over to the attacking half. One thing I have to question again from NIP, Ollie, is Kamikaze's on the smoke, and he's getting picked off first. He's trying to play like a roamer. You smoke as a roamer. I don't know why he's trying to force that just time and time again. He is very fortunate that we had some big players step up on NIP that round, because if BDS were able to maybe have the advantage going into that final 30 seconds, not having that smoke definitely would have cost his team.
Now we see the sides switch. BDS, they take their turn on the defense. Is this going to be the change of fortune that is required? A 4-2 half isn't that bad, Demo. I think we need to bring it back a little bit now, because BDS were running away with it at a time, and it really genuinely looked as though we could have seen 6 clean attacking rounds there from BDS. The timeout from NIP, I think that worked when they then started to go back downstairs into kitchen. They then come out and they're able to win that round. They've been able to make adaptations and changes there. A 4-2 split on coastline starts to look okay. It's not the worst thing that has ever happened. Now NIP have to continue off the back of that. They have to come out strong and level this up to a 4-3. Then things start to look really competitive.
NIP bringing the exact same attacking lineup that BDS brought as well. No differences in their operator selection. One thing I do worry though for BDS is they have not brought the Jaeger. A severe lack of projectile denial. Well, I mean, they do have the Renegates, which is, of course, still a form, but not as strong as you would compare to an ADS. NIP, again, since they're bringing the exact same lineup as BDS, we know there's going to be plenty of projectiles to be used. You have 2 sets of nades, you have 2 sets of flashbangs. Oh, Pino, a very aggressive standpoint, jumping straight in towards Kitchen Ollie. NIP now on the attack, just like they were in the defense, looking for this opening pick.
It's that fearlessness as well, you know, they know that all of these rounds leading up are very crucial here. But Pino happy to drone something once, and off the back of that, get himself on in. We can see a drone working ahead of Muzi here. Will it spot the player behind the desk? Yes, it will, but Shaiko's going to be better in that regard. Muzi does get shut down. Pino's going to try and challenge this as well, maybe thinking about tossing a nade on in. Shaiko will get caught out there as the trade comes in from Pino.
Yeah, tried the second peek as well, but no. NIP ready for that one. So there's going to be a 4 versus 4. Iana gone, which is nades, and of course the infinite dronage that you can get as well with that operator is always going to be great for attackers, but BDS have dealt with that. Still a bit of pressure, I suppose, they can apply with Lems on the Mozzie. NIP all wrapping around towards the hookah. So they're not going to go for Aquarium. They're going to go for the hookah lounge take, which is a little bit more riskier. I think 1C4 from below can upset everything you try and accomplish. I think NIP, before they try and attempt this, they need to try and have Sunrise under control. It looks as if they have that now with Psycho rotating in through Sauna, and he is going to be playing below, being stationed to try and assist anyone who may need some help vertically. Julio has actually wrapped over to the double window. He can do this safely because, like I said, they have Sunrise control. He doesn't have to worry about the single window. And NIP, I mean, it's a little bit slow from the Molly, and it's one thing that you've always highlighted. NIP, just a little bit too slow sometimes.
Notoriously slow, I would go as far as to say, on the attack, and it is often something that really catches them out. We see we're into the 50-second mark now. They are at a man deficit, so they've not been able to maybe gain as much control as they would like, but still we see players moving quite slowly toward that objective, and you just can't afford to do that as an attacker. The push is going to have to come in eventually. Kamikaze going to burn the Suri gate there and just hold the cross. Psycho has rotated. He's going to be looking to try and apply some pressure as we have a bit of a three-pronged attack here from NIP with Julio. Upside down repel on the big window. Not sure if he got a glimpse of somebody there, or maybe it was his teammate, but he's going to still continue to hold on to this angle as Psycho will burn the laser gate, gets himself on in. Maybe he's going to go for a plant up on the desk. The kills are going to have to come through first, though, and Lems grabs himself too. Kamikaze pushes on in desperately, but he's only got 3 seconds left. Brede, he's going to lock away that last kill. BDS, take that round.
Too slow from NIP. For about a minute, they just sat outside, held angles, didn't know what to go for, and it was a last-ditch attempt of going for an Aqua. Just does not work. They don't have any map presence. There is no control at all on BDS, and they've cost it for it. 5 versus 2 now. BDS winning that first defensive round, and Ollie, this is a map that you need to win your attacks on. It is supposed to be attacker-sided. If NIP are struggling with time management, especially on a map which I don't think you need too much time management, because the pushes can be set up fairly quickly, because it is a fairly small map, I worry for them.
I think I would have really liked to see in that last round everybody pushing from one side. Keep Julio on the upside down repel, but maybe put 2 players in through Aquarium. And just have that ability to be able to get a trade-off, because Kamikaze just got left out in the cold there. And there's no way that you're going to then be able to get the plant down in that situation. If he's able to get the plant down, then all of a sudden we've got Julio on the upside down repel. We've got Pino pushing on in as well. Psycho pushing on in as well on the Zofia. And things start to look a little bit better there. You start thinking, yeah, you know what, we might get the diffuser down here and we might actually be able to hold it in the post plant from things like the repel and outside. So NIP, they can afford to lose 2 attacking rounds here. A 4-2 split would take us to that magical overtime. But BDS, they're looking pretty hot. And let's be honest, Lems, hard carry so far. 11-4.
It's the tournament of his life. 100%. In 3 group stages as well. The guy was an animal. NIP have chosen an operator that whenever I see NIP pick it, I think they're panicking. And that is going to be the Monty. We've seen the Monty, most notably against Oxygen, whenever they played them inside of the group stage. And they were very much backs up against the wall. The strategies that they tried to put in beforehand did not work. And they solely just tried to play off information that they gathered themselves and just try and get kills. That was the only idea that NIP had. Now they're going to try and do that against BDS.
Now, Julio on the Monty, as you say, is it a desperate measure? Is it something that they look to try and adapt into and just use that human drone information? We've seen them do it previously. We've seen them do it a lot of times. You know, Julio is a famed Monty player, very proficient. Is it a case where NIP just need to try and get these rounds through, and that is the best way that they know of doing it? They're bringing that shield and they're just saying, look, I'm going to make those calls. I'm going to be able to find out where everyone is. I'm going to provide the yellow pings. Everyone else, you just need to get your kills. You just need to win your ones.
I think this operator pick, it really enforces the idea of we're relying very heavily on our Pino and our Muzi. Feeding that information to these 2 young gunners who have really taken this team by storm. Ever since they joined it last year, they have been an undying threat for every team. You cannot stop these 2. And with that Monty, feeding that information, these two will have a field day with that.
C4 there from Renshiro, not going to land. There are players in upstairs. Pino going to be cooking a frag and just looking to get it down to the bottom of the Cool Vibe stairs. There's angles to work with here. Julio maybe going to try and push his way on into office. Backed by Kamikaze. Pino's still trying to find out these vertical angles. You can see he's constantly worried and concerned about the threat of a C4 though. Malusi Banshee is going to slow Julio down ever so slightly. Going to be some utility in here as well, but nobody playing behind that deployable shield.
50 seconds and there is still a smoke, a C4, and also Echo drones to go through. NIP again on their time management has not been good, but that nade is immaculate and will finish off. No, actually doesn't finish off. Bride, I'm surprised by that. The smoke is still alive, and Julio, Rafal, what was he up to? He just gives Julio the 3th kill of the tournament, and yeah, BDS now in a very poor position. Thankfully, Bride is alive now, but what on earth was Rafal doing inside of security?
Opening kill for a Monty. Not often that you get to see that. Psycho going to make it too as he finds a kill over onto Shaiko. Smoke canisters coming in now as Julio finds himself a second, shutting down Alems. Is he going to go and grab the third? Renshiro does take down Psycho in the meantime, but Kamikaze has flooded on into sight. It's all now down to Renshiro, and in classic NIP fashion, they're planting with 2 seconds left. That is, of course, going to extend the timer, and Kamikaze will secure that plant. Renshiro in a tough old spot now as he's got to do the unthinkable. He has to retake Muzi. He's going to be the first to grab that kill. A tough old spot for Renshiro to be in. Questions have to be asked there of the defense on the side of BDS. Julio coming in with, what, 2 kills? Nuts.
The Echo. Why? What?
Repositioning the drone.
I don't know why you'd be doing that whenever you know they're in the other room right beside you. It's very, very strange. I don't know if it was lack of communication, potentially. Maybe BDS didn't let them know, oh, hey, there's guys pushing you, by the way. You might not want to be in your drone, but it is what it is. It's happened.
It's the Monty effect. It really is. Teams panic when NIP choose Monty, and I don't know what happens, but we just see an entirely different NIP as soon as Julio picks Monty. It is the Monty effect.
One thing that you highlighted was the information game from BDS was much stronger than NIP. What is Monty? An information operator. That could be the big decider.
It flips the switch on that, doesn't it? It says, you know, sure, we've got 10 drones, you had 10 drones, you were able to place them in really good positions.
We've got a walking drone.
But now we're going to bring a walking drone that, guess what, has a shield. You're not going to be able to shoot him all too easily. You're going to have to take your chance if you want to try and take him down. And Julio able to gather enough information there. This time, he's changed things up. He's going to have picked over onto the Cali. I'd maybe like to have seen, you know, the Monty stuck with there. I think you see NIP bringing Monty and you think, you know what, this is something that they're going to want to try and take advantage of.
But one thing that BDS have actually brought is going to be the Legion, which I think is probably the biggest reason why we're not seeing that. I mean, if you know that you've played the Monty and you're expecting a team to then counter-strat that, I mean, I think Legion, in terms of Europe anyway, is an operator that we do see quite frequently. In terms of other regions, not that much. Legion isn't really the biggest operator that we see with a pick rate. But I think whenever you know a team is favorable of Monty, hard counter is going to be the Legion. I mean, Legion is the most annoying thing to deal with if you are a Monty.
Yeah, you're going to default into that trap meta, aren't you?
Yeah.
And you're going to choose things that are going to try and make that Monty's life difficult. We see Malusi be brought pretty much every round from BDS anyway, so the Banshees, they're not too much of a surprise. They're unknown. But like you say, Shaiko on that Legion with the goo mines. I guess the big question is, Demo, how long can he stay alive? Because this game hasn't been his finest hour so far, regularly getting caught out as that first blood. And of course, everyone knows that those goo mines generate over time. If you step on them, you're going to be slowed, you're going to take some damage, and you're going to have to pull them out.
Shaiko does know that Jaeger isn't banned. He does know that, yeah? He probably thought, oh, they've banned the Ash. Oh, they'll probably just ban the Jaeger away from me as well. He does know that, yeah?
Do we need a Tannoy announcement?
Might be. Run over there, Ollie, and let him know.
I think BDS might need a Tannoy announcement because they've not actually brought Jaeger.
Yeah, again, severe lack of Jaeger, which is a worry. With the projectiles that we've kind of talked about, I think the nades have also been pretty good for NIP. Another opening pick. Shaiko gone again. Ollie, you said how long can he stay alive for? About just half the round, that was it.
2 goo mines, that's all that's going to be out there. It's almost a shame that NIP didn't bring the Monty there, as they wouldn't have really been impeded all too much by it. Lems, is he going to look for a little bit of aggression here? Just playing at the halfway point nearly of the Cool Vibe stairs. Still has the ability to rotate on down. BDS seem like they're just waiting for a bit more of an inclination as to where this push is going to be coming from. Lems seems to be searching, and he's going to get caught out. He's going to lose a good chunk of his health there and likely be pushed a little bit more.
Oh, another nade as well. Lems is still alive. He's not giving Kitchen up too easily to NIP. Here comes the Gemini for more information. And Psycho in a great position also to try and swing on and eliminate as many bodies as he can. Lems actually rotated over towards the other side of the kitchen, but is not ready. Julio on the Kali, making it work for him. And all of a sudden, NIP have full map control. Psycho finds one, and the last man standing is going to be Rafal inside of Office. He is sanctioned off from everything that he wants to try and hold down. Diffuser being planted, and well, this is about 50 different crossfires being held, and he falls. NIP, a flawless round.
A flawless round, the diffuser going down at about the 25-second mark as well. An entirely different NIP to what we have seen so far throughout this game. They are getting better and better here on the attacks on Coastline. And all of a sudden, we've got a bit of a game on our hands. A 5-4 scoreline. It's looking like 4-2 halves might be the order of the day here on Coastline. BDS struggling now, struggling to get these trades. Yep. You know, we've seen them winning pretty much every gunfight they got themselves into in the first handful of rounds, aside from the opening picks. Now NIP, they're continuing to get those opening picks, and more importantly, they're making BDS pay for it.
NIP, flawless round, then that will give them so much confidence. A flawless round in a team environment is everything, because you know everyone played their part to perfection. Brazilian sides with momentum, Ollie, are terrifying. Absolutely terrifying to play against. We've seen so many times a Brazilian team has a bit of momentum and bang, you're G2 and you've lost 8-6.
Yeah. NIP are a tournament team. We keep saying this about them. You know, they didn't have the greatest of seasons inside of the BR6. They really struggled to get inside of the Copa Elite. And we've seen them come out here inside of SI and they've made it into the upper bracket. And they continually surprise us. They never make it easy for themselves or us as viewers to watch. It's always really difficult. It's always really back and forth, and they leave it very late. It's very similar to the way they execute their attacking rounds. They like to leave things late, but they are a tournament team and they step up on the day.
The expectations for NIP weren't very high. A very mediocre start to 2021 inside of BR6 and Copa Elite 6, like you said. They come to Invite. They have not had an easy run. They've had very tough games. I think they've made games tough for themselves as well, but they still managed to pull out these scrappy victories. Lems finally gets the first pick, and BDS have that advantage, but Ollie, NIP, no matter how it happens or how badly they lose rounds, as long as they win, that's all that matters. A win is a win in their books. Doesn't matter how clean it was, doesn't matter how scrappy it was, as long as they can say, yeah, we got that.
That's the first time in a long time that we've seen BDS actually get the opening pick this time. No real surprise that it's a Lems that's going to be getting that, as he's currently going double positive. Really, really standing out there for his squad. Going to take down Psycho. Psycho's really stepped it up over the last couple of rounds on attack. You lose out on that Zafir, and with Ashband, it puts a lot more pressure on Zafir's lifeline. It puts more pressure on the grenades as well, but the lifeline is just that really nice way of dealing with utility.
NIP have focused very heavily on their nade gameplay. We have seen that cause issues for Team BDS. And we're still not seeing the Jaeger pick. I'm still baffled that we are not seeing this operator chosen. Another nade gets tossed in. I wouldn't be surprised if we see another nade kill. I think it probably will happen inside this round. I just think BDS missing the mark, not bringing the denial, and it has costed them. Thankfully, though, this round, which is a little bit different, is, like you said, they've kind of disabled the lifeline. Very strong, very powerful, being able to open up those holes, and oh, Pino just slips in. Shaiko not aware. Lems is still below as well. But yeah, NIP losing a bit of utility. It's got a little bit of pressure on them.
It really is. You can see Lems scurrying himself through blue bar there as he tries to get himself back to some sort of safety. Musa going to come downstairs and try and join in on this roam clear, but I believe the job has largely been done. As we can see, all four players, for the side of BDS. They're going to be occupying Hooker and Billiards, Vars, and Cool Vibe stairs. So entire map control, really, for NIP here. and they've got plenty of time to try and work with. They've got 40 seconds on the clock. They can now start to try and bait out some of this utility, and they're going to need to. There is still a C4 in the hands of Alems. There's still 3 Toxic Babe canisters in the hands of BDS.
3 nades as well, which I think NIP will start to utilize and find positions that they can get themselves set up for. Kamikaze will just go for the flashbang, checking for any potential ADS. Of course, they don't know. And oh, that's going to be a miss nade, though, I believe. And yes, BDS is still alive and well, going to smoke out, try and stop that push in towards Aquarium. The Lion Charge goes off, and here we go. The fun begins. A C4 out of nowhere, but somehow gets shot mid-air. Kamikaze on his belly, crawling his way through the bomb site. BDS another kill, and oh, Julio gets shot down. Kamikaze all by himself, but the time is up. BDS, hold on for one more round.
5 more seconds. 5 more seconds there, and NIP would have had a much better chance. The slew of utility that was thrown at them there by BDS was enough in the end for BDS to confirm that round. It puts them onto a match point here inside of this best of 3. Can they convert? We've said 4-2 rounds, 4-2 splits look like the order of the day here on Coastline. That is where we now sit in terms of the rounds gained from BDS. They came out of their first phase at 4-2. They've picked up 2 rounds. We now need to see NIP take the next 2, take us to that OT.
Oh, that's a massive kill for BDS. 2 massive kills as well. Of course, we didn't get to see his perspective, but since we are on LAN, Ollie, we're able to find every single perspective, which is a great addition, of course. We see the replays, we see what we missed out. One thing that I would add that I think was severely lacking from NIP that probably would have put all of that to bed if they had one person on the hookah window. That would have killed the Mozzie behind the reinforcement. That's always going to be an issue because it's a 50-50. He could peek left, he could peek right. And it's a bit of mind games for NIP. If they had one player stationed on that window, eliminate him, the bomb site would have been freed up.
It all comes back down to BDS getting the opening pick.
Because they don't have that man advantage yet, 100%. Yeah.
BDS get the opening pick, Alems is able to find that first frag, and all of a sudden the round looks entirely different from that point out. 1 more person, 10 more seconds. It was a small margin there for NIP to lose that round. Alems, he might have heard you, Demo. He's gone for the Jaeger.
Finally.
Finally picking the Jaeger.
I think they've realized that, yeah, these nades are a bit annoying. Let's try and stop them as much as we can. A couple of operator change-ups as well, even Renshiro on the Pulse. That's always a funky one to see on Coastline, but hey, makes sense. Destructibility factor is always going to be a big thing. Julio, out comes the Monty once again.
Desperate times, desperate measures for NIP.
He's by himself.
Julio's hunting. He's recognizing that somebody's maybe inside of Sunrise. He's waiting for the door to be open. Then he can just push on through. It's going to immediately put the pressure onto BDS, and he's actually going to give it up.
It's a scary thing, isn't it?
I mean, as the mute, I would have thought he would have played there for a little bit longer. You know, it's not like you're playing on the smoke. You could try and waste a little bit of time there, but is instead going to give that entire control away over to NIP.
Yeah, Julio, look at the confidence. This is just what the Monty brings. Immediate control of Sunrise has been gained. BDS have went for an upstairs hold, and I don't know if NIP actually want to challenge that. It would be a little bit difficult without the Monty in a great position. Instead, they've decided to use the Monty for their Sunrise setup. Pino, it's a nice angle onto that default rotation as well. If anyone tries to go in towards the kitchen, they will be cut down. Hops on a drone, and Julio going to try and burn up any potential ADSs, and as we see, there is none, so that's going to be the smoke grenades popped in, and oh, a quick single window! Kitchen jump-in has occurred, but no, BDS is there to shut it all down. Julio walking straight in as fast as he can, and he's going to run right past him. He's toying with him. Julio, oh, the hip-fire pistol onto the head. Julio eats a C4 as well. Shaiko still trying to hold down the fort, but it's going to be advantage into NIP. There's a nade kill. They brought the Jaeger, and it still doesn't matter. Alam's in a 1 versus 2, up against the Monty. Up against Pino. Pino now picks up the diffuser. All he has to do is stick the plant. Julio, chase him, feed the information, find a lamp, try and stop him, and there's the information. Pino gets off it, and NIP are still fighting for this win.
NIP throwing everything at that round. Julio on the Monty. Fearless. Headshot, hip-fire pistol kill.
What an up.
What more can you ask for? NIP pulling it out of the bag again when it matters. They've got to do it one more time, Demo. They've got to do it once more to confirm and take us to that OT.
They have to bring Monty again. They have to. They have 100% win rate with that operator. It has caused BDS massive issues. But yeah, I don't know. BDS just struggling to really come to grips. I think there was a little bit of confusion. You see a Monty push in so deep. They did really well for finding the first kill onto the Sophia who jumped in the window. And I thought, oh, that's pretty poor from NIP. But no, Julio, that hip fire, that kill changed everything.
And it all comes down to how quickly BDS gave up control of Sunrise. We commented on it at the time. Julio pushed through Sauna and was just like,
they're scared.
You might be in Sunrise, buddy, but I quite like this place, and I think I'm going to stay. And I think that you're now going to leave. And BDS goes, you know what, you're probably right. And he goes and pushes his way all the way on back.
So they've sacked off the Jaeger. I mean, another nade kill happened even with the Jaeger, so it's just meant to be. We're supposed to die to nades this game, and they brought the Legion. So again, Monty being brought, BDS, immediate response, bringing this operator.
I think that with the coordination from a team like NIP, you can bring the Jaeger and it doesn't have that much of an impact because you have just got so much flashbangs, lifelines, you've got frag grenades. You know, you bring in 4 frags, you can afford to use one if you have to burn an ADS. It really is one of those things where you're coming up against a team with this much coordination and the Jaeger just gets devalued in that process. So it's probably a good read from BDS. You know, they recognize, you know what, there's other things we can be bringing here.
And one thing with BDS I think they've kind of lacked on their defensive half is the information. You know, Valkyrie's up. Haven't really seen Valkyrie from them. They've decided to go with an Echo pick. Last time they had Echo against the Monty, it was a fun one. Bit questionable from BDS. Alams this time is going to be on the Echo, so we do see some operator changes also in terms of who's playing what. And like you said, you like this position, you like BDS inside of Sunrise, just holding it down as easy as he likes. Has the C4 that could maybe help him as well.
He's got a bit more this time. He's got the yokai drone in there. You can see it just on the ceiling. Yeah. It's going to get pinged out by Muzi. He's going to react to that and probably yellow ping it or at least call it out for his team. So BDS, he's got a bit more to go on here. He should be able to play in there for a little bit longer.
Oh, the first pick again goes in favor of NIP, and Shaiko has died once more. Shaiko not having a good game for himself. 4 kills and 10 deaths. Pino, 14-6, the real MVP right now for NIP. He has been making moves and making it happen for his team. Let's see if he can do it, because he needs to, Ollie. He needs to. This is still match point for BDS.
It is. It isn't time for NIP to rest on their laurels. They still need to execute inside of this round, and we can see that being a bit more of a focus. Instead of pushing through Sunrise, this time they're going for a much more different approach. They've tried to clear out that top floor. They've been able to remove Shaiko, and now they're looking to pressure a little bit more on the site level itself. Psycho, he's going to be holding that main door area. Julio this time going to start his push on through. BDS once again going to back himself on out. This time goes vertical. I kind of like this adaptation from BDS. I think that there's a lot more that he can do there than just back himself on into kitchen. Sure, you give up the control, but you're still able to pose a threat here onto Julio from the vertical angle.
Lams has got his Echo drones in place, ready to try and deny either or. Whatever side they want to go for, NIP. They have it ready for kitchen, have it ready for delivery. And Julio on that Monty. Here he comes again. Last time he walked straight through the bomb site, being able to gain as much information as he could. But time is slowly ticking down for NIP. And Pino, gets caught out. Not ready for BDS. Muzi, though, has the refrag and still advantage for NIP. There's the Legion mine. This could be the big decider. Julio now is constantly taking damage. He's thinking, wow, I have to get this out of my foot. You need to, as everyone's falling around him. Julio now goes for the kill. He will find, there has been a down, though. BDS still in lead. Muzi finds one, has to find another, but time is over. BDS, by the skin of their teeth, hold on, and they win Coastline.
A big game there for BDS. It wasn't easy for them. They took a good lead at the start of Coastline, but then things started to change. NIP came back with a huge fight back, but once again, time just running them a little bit short on their attacking rounds. A very fine margin though. 7 rounds to 5. BDS take map number 1 here inside of this best of 3. We have got a beautiful analyst desk to break this one down for you.
What an incredible game. Honestly, this was the way to end such a tight matchup, and that's only map number 1, Coastline. NIP's pick in this one, and they had to pull out the Monty, something that we in our own conversation were kind of hiding back and waiting in case we needed to fill in a bit extra time, but this is something that NIP definitely do not shy away from. Big advantage early on, though, for BDS.
It was a big advantage that they had. 4 rounds consecutively, and only one of them they had the entry kill. So every single time they managed to come back from a deficit and able to